Does this work like this? Okay. It's weird, the positioning of it, like I have to look here, right? Can you hear me? You're muted.
Okay. Hello, can people hear me? We are live. We are live. Hello, hello, hello. Post a comment if you guys can hear us. This is a new platform I'm using for the very first time. So bear with us if we have anything that pops up. I want to see. Can you guys post in the comments? No.
It says in the chat, yes, 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 I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, good, good, good. I don't, chat. Here we go. Yay! I see you guys now. I can see you before. All right, we're on. We're waiting for Nikki. She should be on any moment. So happy to see everyone that's here. Yay. My name is Cindy Olin. I am the founder of Create Your Own Life and Love. And today we're going to talk about the real secret to attraction, natural and lasting, and really attracting love from the inside out. We're going to unlock the secrets for you. So grab your notepads, grab your favorite beverage of choice, and enjoy. So at any rate, we are going to have the three of us speak today. So it's me, Cindy, Carla, and Nikki and Candela. So we're going to be, actually Carla's going to start because Carla's going to be speaking into your image and how that can, well, I'll let you explain it, Carla, but how that exudes your confidence. And you may already be a woman that knows who you are, you're successful, you're smart, all of that. But there's a deeper level of connecting that you want to feel within yourself and with a partner. So Carla's going to speak into that today, and I'll just go ahead, let you get started, and then we'll continue on the journey.
Thank you so much, Cindy, for having me, and hello to everybody who's tuning in. I'm actually excited about this conversation because it's one that I feel passionate about, and in regards to when it comes to confidence and also like showing up on a date, I mean, just being a woman myself or someone who has dated before, and the nervousness that comes with that, right? And then especially right now, everything's normally virtually, so then you're like on cameras like this, and you're in little, it's like it's a different ball game as far as whether if you would be in person. So for example, this is a camera, so when you get on a Zoom call with somebody or just the video method, right? Like the way we look in video and the way we look in person is very different. And so I can literally go in front of the mirror and then do something to my face or my hair, and then once I get on camera, it's like, whoa, it looks a little bit off, or things like that. So I want to kind of I know those are outside things that we can support our confidence. I know at the end of the day, our true confidence comes from how we feel about ourselves, right? But these are like little things that we could do to build up our confidence when we go on camera. And even if you're in person, if you're dating in person and things like that. And so when it comes to style and identifying, what your style is, it comes from a place of knowing more about who you are. So it's like a getting to know yourself process. And so as the more you also understand who you are, that also builds your confidence. And so also when you go to your closet, you're like you're a little more secure about choosing something. And so there's also the women who will say, well, Carla, I already know my style and I know what I like. And so to that, what I would say is that's great. And I'm sure you could do everything yourself. And I will always ask my clients, like, are you operating from your vision? And they're like, well, what do you mean? And one of the things that I do with my clients is I'll ask them, what's your vision? Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years? And so when you're talking to a woman, a powerful woman or a man who's a visionary, that excites them. That gets them like talking, oh, in 3 years, my business and my this and my that, like they'll start talking. And so my expertise is basically to bridge the gap between that vision that they see and then basically make it into something physical as to coming down to what you're going to wear when you are, New York's best time seller, or when you're now like a married woman with kids, because right, we're doing specifically for dating. Are you there? Am I Cindy? Anyway, so what I would say to that is basically um, I have them basically go through their vision, and then we'll create like an avatar for each one, right? But you're like, okay, Carla, I don't have time for that. What do I do now? And what I would say is one of the biggest things when you're going to go on a date is like, how do you calm the nervousness down, right? The nervousness of going on a date. And so if you go to your closet right now, there's that outfit that all your girlfriends have complimented you on. So go to those. Go to those, the ones that you already know, you feel good, you look good. And so when you go to these virtual dates, if you will, you're gonna go in a little bit, more comfortable, more confident about yourself. But that's something you could do right now that's practical. But really the deeper work is to really focus on what your vision is. Where do you see yourself in the next 3 years? And really create an avatar for that. So I would suggest like going to Pinterest or something like that, and then really looking at where like things that you gravitate towards as far as style is concerned, and start creating boards, right? So if you say, okay, in 3 years, I see myself living in New York, going for my dream career. And so then start looking at New York and then the style there and things like that. And you're going to start gravitating to things and create boards. And then you're going to start seeing a common denominator in all of that. And that will definitely support you in building your confidence and knowing who you are, and creating an avatar. What I mean by an avatar, like, okay, this is what I do for my clients. So some clients are moms already, some clients are single and looking for someone that they're dating, some of them are entrepreneurs. They have a specific brand. And so then we create different avatars. And okay, so what is this, what does she wear, like who is she with, how does she smell, like what is the feeling that she has when she's wearing this. So all these things are important. So that's what I would really recommend as far as building your confidence.
Love it. Love it. I'm over here working on our technical stuff happening on the back end. So I'm curious, you were talking about something, when it comes to style and, like owning your confidence, and, like when you step into your closet, you feel that. But what if, and maybe you cover this, but what if you just really feel challenged and you feel like you've got the same two date shirts or the same two shirts that you do video chats with? How do you recommend someone, can shift that a bit and maybe even, feel more embodied within their style?
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things that I would say to that, and one of the things that I do, the first thing, again, I'm going to go back to vision. Once you create that vision and you create a mood board for that,
Mhm.
then it's sort of like your compass now, right? So you're going to literally create this vision, and then you go to your closet and then you say, okay, does my closet represent my mood board, my avatars that I've created for myself? And then if the answer is no, then you get to start letting go of those things, and whatever it does represent that stays, right? So there are going to be things that I know you're referring to, like the top three tops that we always go to, we always wear because we feel good, we feel comfortable in it, we look beautiful in it, but you're like, okay, enough, right? I've worn this too many times and
Mhm.
I wore it on both dates, and so we can, and so I could tell you, we'll just shop for more, but that's not giving you a long-term solution. It's just going to be a like a fix it right now, a band-aid. So
Mhm.
going back to the vision conversation and making sure that your closet represents, I go like this because the closet's right there, represents your mood board and what you created. And then so now when you shop, you go online, you're looking at, okay, my vision. And so the beautiful thing is that you're going to get excited about it, and it's going to come in the mail, these new tops, and you're going to start adding things to your closet now that represent that vision. Now, the key component that I actually forgot to mention, the reason as to why I do that, have women think about their vision, or men, is because I want them to know that they can have that life now. And so if they start dressing into that now, they can call that life into. So it's like another way to manifest something quick into your life, right? And so I would literally say, there's also things in your closet that you can mix and match that perhaps you have not thought about. So let's say your favorite top is like the black V-neck, and that's what you wore. Okay, so then I would literally go to Pinterest, unless you hire somebody like me, then just go to Pinterest and say, how to style a black V-neck top. And then it'll give you different examples of, like, maybe you can add a leather jacket to that. Maybe you could add like something that will make it different. Maybe you could add a chain that you can't really see it's that top anymore, and or jean jacket, things like you can literally layer with adding jewelry would be great. Those are the things that I would say, that to maximize what you have and to also make it seem like it's a whole complete new outfit. Now, if you're doing it like a video dating, right? Like, of course, if you are going out and on a date, then you have to think about the whole outfit. I'm just thinking right now, and like
Mhm. A lot of people
fast
are
solutions that you in this moment.
a lot of people are meeting on video. I mean, they are meeting in person, but it's different. It seems to be more outdoors or in the park, or um, some socially distanced dating. I was literally
Mhm.
just thinking about um, when you were sharing that. What is your opinion on this? Do men
Mhm.
notice what women are wearing?
They do notice it. They do notice it, and it doesn't take a lot to satisfy the male species. I'm gonna say that mostly women dress for women,
I agree.
and
I definitely do.
so men will say, "Oh, that's a beautiful top," but they would have loved you either way. Like there are some men who like are more concerned with style and details. Like the other day, I saw my friend, and I actually was dressing. It was a casual thing, but I was like, I know he's gonna notice, and so I literally was wearing my leggings and like a crop, like a hoodie, but it was crop, but it was all matching my I had my Nikes, my running shoes, they're gray, and then my pants, and then my top was white with silver. And so I knew he would notice that, and the first thing he said, "Wow, those are really nice pants. I love how everything matches." And I was like laughing inside because I knew he would appreciate that. So it feels like is like, I wasn't trying to impress him. I was more like being he knew that. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can now. You cut out just a little bit. You weren't trying
We're
to impress
back.
us.
Yeah, no, it's the thing. Oh, I think because Nikki's joining.
Hi.
Hi.
She's
We're working.
here.
Uh-oh.
Carla's definitely freezing up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's frozen.
Things,
Yeah,
and here we
Cindy,
are.
you seem fine, but Carla's definitely freezing up.
How about now?
You're better.
We are
I
live,
heard you.
Nikki, and you're jumping in to our. Can you guys
You
hear
are
me?
jumping in. Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go. Can you guys see me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I still freezing? Okay, cool. Cool. Nikki, welcome. We're actually live right now. So I'm so glad you're joining the conversation. And I was telling them that women normally dress for women because Cindy was asking me, do men notice or do they care about that? And I was like, they do, but it doesn't take much to impress a man as much as a woman, right? Like a woman would notice a lot more things unless he's a detail oriented kind of guy and is into fashion himself. So like somebody like Kanye West would would notice what you're wearing. So I can't, there's all kinds of men.
Yeah, for sure. I know. Yeah, I agree with that completely. Most women do dress for other women. It's like fun for us to dress for each other. I used to be in fashion for 12 years, and it was so fun to dress in the office because we all dressed for each other. And whether it was H&M or Gucci and Jimmy Choo, it just it was super fun. And, I've definitely noticed that men are detail oriented and they notice, but they like to see our body. And a lot of like the baby doll tops, they don't like because they can't really see us. I've noticed. So they like to see what we look like. So when we wear the frilly stuff, it is for other women for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I also noticed the high-waisted shorts, men hate them. You know what I'm talking about? Like high-waisted pants or high-waisted shorts. They're like every time. The women are like, "Oh my God, those pants are so cute," and then the men are like, "What's happening with your clothes?"
Yeah.
There's some kind of comment on
Yeah.
like, what are those kind of thing.
Only if your butt looks amazing do they like them.
That on that.
And I feel like
that's what they're looking at.
And I really feel like
because
hard.
those pants make you look longer, like it elongates your back, so you don't know when your booty and your back starts unless you have one, right, to show.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys, what do you think about high-waisted pants?
To interrupt you.
Yeah, no, I was just I don't like them on women at all for the most part. Every time I see them, I'm like, really? Anyway, but I'm excited to have you here, Nikki. We're trying a new platform, so it's a little different. And I may have made a technological boo-boo, but hey, this is our practice run. It's
is it being recorded at least? So at least you can send it out, right? Yeah, okay. We got to try new stuff as entrepreneurs, like as people, humans, period, right? We have to try new stuff. If COVID has taught us anything, it's like we got to keep trying new stuff. So it's all good.
COVID has taught us reinvention for sure.
Yes, we're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We can do multiple platforms, which is great because we can connect with multiple people. So that's even better. So Nikki, I'm excited to have you here, and I know that your time is limited with us. So I wanted to make sure that you got on and you got to share, because you are, I mean, I love you, and you are the founder of Nice Girl Bitch Mode. I'm so in love with this that I was talking to Carla. I was like, I want to do a whole series around Nice Girl Bitch Mode. And anyway, so let's speak into that, because I feel like a lot of women, they fall into this trap of being really nice women, and they want to do the right thing, and they want to show up the right way with it. I actually see a couple different camps. It's like either they become really anxious and they overthink, or they shut down. Yeah. And the men can't connect with them at all. So right. When, and this can actually apply to any area of your life, but
oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, and I feel like there's usually either this happens in the beginning of dating, or there's a certain point in time where things start to shift, and the woman starts to fall into this place where she's giving more. She's in this give mode, and starts to accept breadcrumbs in return. And, since you developed this, you've been talking about some wild success with your clients around it. So I'd love for you to speak into it and support our women around your, how you manifested that, and some steps they can take.
Okay, great. Thank you. First, I just want to say thank you for having me on. And, I adore the two of you. I love you girls so much. And I just want to sing your praises for like a quick hot second, because Cindy, oh my God, she has helped me so much in dating. A lot of what I know and how I coach my clients around how they approach their dating profiles and dating, and even their entrepreneurial businesses. Like, she has just been this like spark of heart in my life. And I know if any of you are working with her, I know you're getting to experience like the huge amount of love and knowledge that she is giving you. So big praise to all of you, and thank you, Cindy and Carla. Like, some of my photo shoots have just been so extraordinarily up-leveled with Carla's help, and she is such a beacon of empowerment for my clients, and I can only imagine for her private clients, and for me as a friend. Just beautiful souls. So I love that I get to be side by side with you girls in life as friends, and then on here. So I just want to sing your praises because I love you girls. But yeah, so basically, I moved to New York City out of college, and I had gone to school for fashion design, and I wanted to design clothing, and moved to New York City. And I went to the big city as this naive Midwestern girl, and just nice as hell, and really got to. What's that?
I didn't mean to interrupt. I just said, so nice.
And I really got to discover the power of New York City. In fact, one of my first brand photo shoots I had taken in New York City, because it truly was a foundational place that gave me my backbone. And if you've ever seen the movie The Devil Wears Prada, that was my first boss. So literally, I just out of the gate got the biggest eye-opening experience of, what it was like to be a nice girl in a competitive industry, in a really tough, aggressive, upfront city. And it just was really fascinating and super hard and challenging for me to figure out where I fit in and how I could really remain being me And this happens in relationships too, right? We lose ourselves. We, over time, take on all these titles, right? Mom, best friend, sister, and we start to create a personality about ourselves around these titles. And next thing we know, we are being people pleasers is the foundation of who we are. So, you know, it was really challenging for me to figure out where my stand was, so I didn't have to become this aggressive bitch New Yorker, and I could actually still remain me and still hold my own and keep a good stand. And so I've had a ton of experience throughout my life. In fact, you know, to this day, something happened yesterday and I'm like, all right, what's the bitch mode of this nice girl gonna do? You know, it's like you really have to tap into something within you and allow it to be just a little part of you as opposed to just taking over you. So I was talking to an acquaintance recently, this young girl, super cute, sweet. She's creating this product, and I asked her how it was going, and she was like, it's good, but you know, I'm really young and sweet, and I'm just starting out, and I've never done any of this before, even though I know what I'm talking about, and I'm not getting any, you know, privilege from my vendors. I feel like everyone is taking advantage of me and they just see me as this young, sweet girl. And so I started asking her questions around that. And she was like, wow, you should really do something with this. You have a lot of experience. And so that's how this all kind of like stemmed into a side level of what I've been doing as far as coaching visual brand strategy to my branding clients, and then taking on, you know, being the guide to the nice girls in their bitch mode.
I love it. I love it. Wow. And when you shared about empowering on, you know, like you've got to tap into that piece of yourself. Could you speak into that a little bit more? Because I feel like that's so important for women, because as you mentioned, you know, wearing different hats, you know, we tend to take on a persona that's so far away from your core authenticity of who you are.
Right.
And, you know, how do you teach, you know, harnessing that, connecting to that?
So it's really great because, you know, I take specific scenarios that my clients come to me with, and once I coach them around that, they start to trickle in and see a sequence and consistency that they can utilize in different scenarios. So one of my first scenarios was going back to that job with my boss in New York City. You know, I'd had it one day and we were in a fitting with this high-end model, and it was this ridiculous scenario. And I thought, how can I address this and remain me? And I was like, oh, professionalism. I'm going to hit her with professionalism. So I can't remember what she said to me, but I stood up and everyone just looked at me because nobody stood up to her. And I said, I have had it with the low level of professionalism that I'm being treated with by you in this atmosphere. This is a work atmosphere. I don't appreciate the personal attacks that are constantly being made on me. And I would really appreciate it if we could keep this professional relationship between us a little more consistent. And I walked out and I cried. I went to the bathroom and I was like bawling and I was crying. And I was like, but that was it. She treated me differently after that, and not great because she can't change who she is, right? But she respected me more for standing up for myself. So it's really finding that approach and that sweet spot. Obviously, you know, that was with like business work. When it comes to, you know, like I like to play a lot of boys sports, and one of them is golf, and it's a very sexist sport. And I've been playing it for a long time. And it's just very obvious to me every time I'm on the course. And so, you know, it's like I have to address that in a different way too. So it's just like, it's channeling, like asking yourself questions, right? What is really bothering me right now? So I get really clear on what I'm really upset about or frustrated with or angry about. And then second, it's what result do I actually want to happen? Because a lot of times when we lash out, it's a very surface level thing, right? Like, oh, but you said this, when really the issue is that, like, yesterday when something was said, it created a trigger that blah, 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 right? So a lot of times we have to get through the surface level frustrations or upsets that are coming up for us to get to the core of, like, what's the result we really want to happen, right? So like, let's say something happened on the golf course with me, and I golf with mostly men. It's like, oh, I get upset about something. Okay, why am I upset? All right, I'm just feeling, like ganged up upon here. Okay, I'm clear about that. I just want to cry, but I'm not going to. And that'll make the situation worse. Men don't know what to do when we cry. And it's like, okay, what do I really want to happen here? It's like, first of all, I probably want to, like, tell everyone where to go. No, I don't want that. So really, I want to just, like, play for the rest of the day, having an even level of, like, masculine and feminine coming out of this game. I don't want to feel like the poor, weak woman on the next, like, half of this game. So it's like, and then I know actually how to address and speak to what it is that's bothering me. Does that make sense? I'm trying to give examples because it's a little esoteric, like what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you, and can connect with that. I oftentimes work with my clients on getting connected with what they're feeling in that moment, and take a minute and pause. And oftentimes, we get scared of our feelings, right? A part of the reason why relationships don't work out is because we try to avoid the very thing that we don't want to have happen. So
Right.
we're trying to, you've been abandoned, or you've been, abandoned, ghosted, you name it, rejected. So you're focusing on, and this is really subconscious, right? You're focusing on that feeling instead of allowing it to come in. And I think this is what you're saying, allowing it to come in and actually feel it and process it through. And you can do that rather than react, because, what you were saying, being on the golf course and you get frustrated, and, I've seen people throw golf clubs across the golf course, right? And
Yes.
we go into our inner 2-year-old, which is really unhealed versions of ourselves. It's our little girl that's wanting to come out and say, hey, I need some attention. And so with that piece, and I think, we can even insert that into going out on a first date with somebody that you find really attractive, and all of a sudden you start to freeze, and you're in that space of, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to say, or you go into a certain mode. I had a client of mine that used to talk the whole time she was on a date, because she would get super nervous on a date. And when I asked her, I said, oh, what did you like about him, or something? And she said, I don't know. Or what was it that, what did you have anything in common? What did he do in his free time? Little things like that. And it goes to show, I'm sure every woman that is watching has been on a date with a man that spoke the whole time.
Yeah.
He's nervous.
Yeah.
He's no jerk. He's not, well, sometimes they are, but it's more fewer and further between. It's more that they need to relax a little bit. But it's taking that minute to breathe and even getting vulnerable with your emotions.
Yeah, and the beauty is once you get a scenario and you understand what happened and you understand where your triggers are, you know what to do going forward, right? It's like your scenario where it's, okay, I was really nervous. I talked the whole time. I didn't ask it. So my go-to from now on is going to be just sitting back, being quiet and smiling and being very receivable to all the information and having questions set in my mind or on my phone of what I can ask when I start to get scared or nervous or not know what to do. So it's like, okay, that scenario, I didn't know what to do and this happened, but now I can prepare myself going forward. Or if it's something where you need to create boundaries, it's just, and that's what I was saying, going back to my clients, it's like when I take a specific scenario with them and coach them around it, they create like, oh, so this is why I do this. And then they go into situations more prepared, and you just get stronger and stronger and stronger, and you build on that, and you start to really acknowledge who you are, what your personality traits are, and what you need, right? I remember I went on a second date. I think it was a second date with someone that I really, really liked, and this was a while ago. And during that time, I wasn't really nurturing myself the right way. So I had declared to myself that I was going to go to bed early, get more sleep. So I had gone on the second date and we met at a decent time. We had dinner, we had drinks, we walked down to the water, and it was still early. And he was like, well, let's go get a tea or something. And I was like, if I go get a tea with him, I still have a half-hour drive home. I'm going to go completely against my promise to myself to go to bed early. It's a school night. And I was so nervous and scared, but out of my mouth came, I really am in this mode of nurturing myself. And one of those things is getting to bed early. So I know it's only 8 p.m., but by the time I get home and get my dog settled and get out, I will, if I leave now, be completing that promise to myself. So I would love to stay, but I'm going to choose to go. And I was so nervous. It was the first time I'd ever said anything like that. And so he was like, okay, I'll walk you to your car. And he told me, we ended up dating for a few months. And he told me later on that was the night that he kind of fell in love with me, that he was so happy that he was with someone who knew what they needed for themselves and knew how to take care of themselves. And it was so impressive to him that I said that was the night. He was like, I was in after that. And I was like, what? Are you serious? And so I try to remind myself of that when I'm feeling really scared to say something or prioritize myself over someone else that I'm with on a date or whatever it is. And so we can take those scenarios, and really that was such a gift that he told me that, right? Because how would we know otherwise? But it's very interesting.
It is.
I actually want to comment on that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Because I love that story, Nikki, because there's this thing of like men need to feel needed, right? And so sometimes as women we confuse that, sometimes like if we don't take care of ourselves, then they'll somehow, like if I'm sick or something, he feels needed, so he has to take care of me. But like actually it's like we have to be careful with that, is what I want to say, because what was really key about what you did is you made him feel safe, that he actually didn't have to, he wasn't going to jump into a situation where he needed to take care of you.
Yep.
So that he's okay, or that you're okay. So because he also, like, that's one of the things with the male, and I'm not the expert in love by any means, Cindy, but so correct me if I'm wrong. But the thing with the male is they want to feel safe, and that there's room for them too, where they're just not going to be the ones that are the caretakers and like having to attend to you, and because they're looking at you for security, for safety. So I love that you did that. So it's so important. That's so cool.
Yeah, you're so right. That was exactly it, Carla.
It's and you
Mhm.
really hit on something, Carla, and I appreciate you bringing that up, both of you. This is really great information, and I don't feel like it's shared all the time. It's men really want to feel safe with a woman, and one of our primary needs is to feel safe. So we oftentimes look towards them to take care of that need. But when we're in tune with ourselves, like Nikki set the boundary on that date, your hair looks really great, by the way. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it does. I noticed that too. Did you get a blowout? It looks like you just blew it out, right?
I got yesterday. I got my Brazilian treatment, so I get that done once every 6 months. So it's a little more straight and smooth than what it normally is. Like it just has a little bend instead of the curls. But thank you.
It's great. Anyway, sorry, sidebar. Anyway, that's what we do as women, right? Isn't it so much fun? We can take a little detour, but
I know you guys look so beautiful too. I meant to say that.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Love fest.
Your lipstick is popping, girlfriend. So good.
Thank you. I'm trying something new. Is it Carla approved? That's what I want to know. So going back to that boundary, so he knew what you needed in that moment, which automatically made him feel safe and at ease with you. So safety feels different for them. Oh, he feels at ease. I don't have to guess her needs and try to take care of them, because as women, a lot of times we do this thing where we expect them to guess what we need.
Guilty.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Yeah. Or we think that he should know, right? Like he should know, or I've shared this with him before, he should know. But realistically, no. It's yes and no. But if you are consistent with, wow, when this happens, like when you are, that man honored your boundary. So you could go with the other side where somebody tries to talk you into staying.
Yes.
And I think we've all experienced that, where they try to talk you into staying, and then that's the nice girl inside of you, the people pleaser, going, well, if I don't stay, then he's not going to like me. But guess what? If he doesn't ask you out again, he's not the right guy anyway. And men will do that sometimes just because, like anyone else, they're really excited to spend time with you and they want to spend more time with you. So it's part of a test that they do as well. And it's not usually a conscious test. It's a subconscious test that inside, when you stick with your boundary, they're like, oh, she passed and I really like her. I really want to spend more time with her. And that is something that creates second dates and third dates and fourth dates. So, a lot of women will ask the question, like, why do I go out on a really great first date and he doesn't ask me out again? And this is something that I hear often, and it's that whole safety thing. He doesn't feel like, he might think that you are a really sweet, nice person, but there's usually, and in his head, he's going, well, why don't I feel drawn to ask her out again? And they do think like that. Like, why am I not wanting to? And it's because they don't feel like they can get vulnerable, or they're just not ready, or there could be other factors, but it is a very big factor. But if you can get into that space of sharing what your need is and being vulnerable with even how you feel. If you're really nervous on that date, share it. You know, I find myself really nervous. I gotta be honest. I even took some notes on my phone of what questions I should ask, because sometimes when I get nervous, I stumble on my words. Right?
Yeah. I'm the biggest person of telling on
Yeah.
myself all the time. I tell on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny. My friend just told me she went on a date and she said, literally, she just said, okay, like going on the first date is difficult enough. Let's just remove the edge from this. Like, there's nothing you can say that, you know, I just want you to be yourself. And I want to be myself with you, because that's the best way and the only way we're going to know if there's going to be a second opportunity here. So let's just both relax. We're here. We made it on a first date. That's a big win. And they were just laughing about it. Like, you know, he's like, I just want to take off any pressure of you thinking you have to be anything for me other than yourself. And he was just like, thank you for doing that. I don't know if that's a good tip or not, Cindy, but I just thought that was so cool and caring. Like, because, you know, they could be even more scared than we are, because their tendency is to want to please and to want to like do it right for you and give you what you need. And I think the power in us is to know what we need and know who we are, so that we can ask for that, and then they can fulfill that, because they're really just sitting there waiting for instructions. Like, just tell me what to do, I'll do it, and it'll be fine. Like, I could solve it, just tell me. But we're here sitting like, no, figure it out.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, it's interesting.
That actually happened to me too, dating women, by the way.
Really? Tell us more.
No, I didn't do that, but I wanted to.
I said that also happened to me in dating women.
Oh, okay.
Like, I had this, yeah, so I obviously had dated men in my life, and the first time that I ever dated a woman, I brought in they were like, she was like, oh, what do you like? And I was like, first of all, and then she was like, oh, you know, if you don't, you know, climax per se, maybe this is TMI, but she's like, it's not my problem. You need to know your body. I was like, wow, she totally checked me. And I was like, okay, like, understood, noted, thank you. Like, it was just like it made me grow up emotionally, if that makes sense. Like, wow, I really need to know myself. And then it made me realize the level of expectation that I had with the men in my life of they should know me. Like, they should know how to like please in emotionally, physically, and all the ways. So unfair. So that was a big learning thing for me. I know I came to talk about style, but I don't know why I'm talking about relationships like I'm an expert.
No, this is
multi-level people.
Yeah, this is so good, because it's all interconnected, right? It's all.
Right.
I'm trying to get back on here. Sorry, I figured out the issue.
What
figured
is
out
it?
my technical issue. So you guys, I didn't invite enough people to go straight directly to Facebook or to YouTube. So they are all on this platform, and that's why there's a limitation. So I'm just gonna
yay for learning curves.
Yay for learning curves. So we're definitely sending out this recording. Nobody can access it because they don't know. Can't get in, and they don't know where the hell we are. So unless they just happen to be on. So at any rate, I was going to try to send out a quick email, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stay present and with you guys, and maybe we can try it again on a different day as well.
Okay, hold on.
So yeah, it's that expectation that happens, right? We oftentimes get into that mode of expecting someone to know, even our friends. Well, she should know.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I know, you coach people on dating, but I coach people on like all subjects. So even, when I lived in New York City, I could not deal with the pressure of being out. Like I was in my 20s, best time to live in New York City. We'd go out and party all night. And I couldn't deal with the pressure of like when I was ready to go home, everyone would be like, no, stay, stay, stay. So I started just like, I'm going to go to the bathroom and like leaving. I would just like Houdini my friends. And like after doing that a few times, they were like, Nikki, like, it's dangerous. This is New York City. You can't just leave us and like not let us know. And I was like, okay, here's the deal. Like, I can't take the pressure of like you guys asking me to stay. So I will fold and I will stay out and be sorry for it. And I was like, so I'm just going to do this. And I need you guys to be okay with it. And they were like, okay. So it's just like, I talk about your inner bitch mode, but it's just really a level of confidence and boundaries and sharing what you really want and who you really are so that you can just like be that person around the people that you care about the most. So yeah, you're right. When it comes to friends, anyone, family.
Yeah.
You have been into family on this call.
Right. It definitely relates to that too.
Let's stay with dating.
Let's stay with dating. So, yeah, this is so great how this has morphed into this topic that I'm really passionate about, supporting women around this place of really being fully self-expressed and, not feeling like they need to hold back. Because I don't know if you guys notice or you've experienced this yourself when it comes to dating. It's like there's either women that will clam up and not share anything because they're trying to be perfect. They're trying to be everything for everyone. And then he can't relate because he thinks, wow, can I really connect with her? So there's that inauthenticity that's happening. Or she feels, and she, the other woman, the one that shuts down, or she expresses everything, which then they get really scared off of because they think, what do I do? Because I feel like I need to take care of her feelings because they want to fix everything, right?
Right.
So I wanted to, anything else you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, I have a really hard time with if at the beginning of a relationship or the beginning of meeting someone, I have a really hard time with unfolding things about me if I hide them in the beginning, right? So it's that becomes harder for me, and I have to remind myself, Nikki, just be yourself. Like, Nikki, it's okay to talk about this subject, or it's okay to do this or that, and it's better to know early on if they're not going to be okay with that side of me. And I don't mean like a mean side or anything. I just mean like, there are subjects that are really hard for us as women, like farting and pooping and,
That should never be a subject though.
all of that kind of stuff when it's like the beginning of like you meeting someone or dating and like it's always, like stuff like that where it's just like I have a hard time.
So funny.
If I'm not like open about all subjects in the beginning, I have a hard time opening up about it after a while. So I just remind myself of that, and I'm like, just be you, Nikki, just be you.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like relationships have seasons, right? Like
Yes.
So, with the father of my kids, we had been together for 7 years before I got pregnant the first time. And so that conversation, as far as like farts or things like that was concerned, wasn't like it had already been present because I'm pregnant now, like it's a different level. And my cousin from Mexico, she's, way more traditional. She has been with her guy since they were in high school. So right now they're like, I don't know, 20 plus years. They have 2 kids, all of that. And there was an incident and I was pregnant, and I was by myself in the car. And so, I had my moment. And then all of a sudden I see everybody come out of the house, and I was like, putting windows down, like, oh my God, please, please, please. Like, I hope it doesn't, like, they don't notice what happened. And he gets in the car, and the first thing he says, "Did you let one rip?" And I was laughing so hard. And my cousin gets in the car, and she tunes into what's happening, and she goes, oh, "Cousin, I cannot believe you did that in front of him. I've never done that in front of my husband, and we've been together for 20 years." And I was like, feeling so embarrassed. Like,
how could you?
I don't know, probably maybe in her sleep or something, but that's not something she made okay in her relationship. And then I was just so embarrassed with her, right? Like, I'm thinking, oh wow, I'm not showing up as like the Mexican woman, like that really holds it down. Like, I'm over here, burping and farting or something, and she's gonna think the worst of me, which wasn't the case, right? And then Alex says, oh no, we're way past that point. Her and I were so close. Like, that's not even, like, I love that. Like, he just was like, made it so cool and so sweet, which made me feel better. But I was just like a funny story, right? Like, of the standards that each woman has for themselves, and then also just the dynamic that we create and the phases that we go through in relationships. But like, I totally get that conversation. I was so embarrassed. Now it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm human. We all eat from the same place and do a lot of the things from the same place, so it's all good.
Yes. That's hilarious.
It's so true because, I see something a lot. I had a woman send me a message, and, she was really excited about a man she met, and, she starts, listing off why she's so excited, and, he's so accomplished, and he's this, and he's that, and he asked me if I want to, if I'd be interested in having a baby, and I'm like, oh, that's sweet. He's trying you on. He's interested, he's interested in you. But I think there can be a tendency to build an expectation from that, and put the person on a pedestal. Because as women, we have this imagination that goes wild. We sit there and we're in front of a guy. We could be on a first or second date. We'd be like, wow, what would that be like in our wedding? Or what would that be like on our, when we're living together and he has his, arms around my waist. It can be really, really easy to do that and not stay present. And then that's another thing that actually loses a connection with a man. I used to say that I wore man repellent, and I did. I was in my 20s, and I would be, I'd be out there. Well, maybe I was even a little bit younger than that, but I'd be going out on dates, and then I would think they went really well, and the guy never called me. Nothing happened. I was like, what is wrong with these guys? And I mean, I have the, the knowledge in my head to go, okay, so I'm the common denominator here. I get to really look at what's going on with me. And I realized as I started diving deeper into this work that it was truly around the fact that I was so disconnected from being present. And I think sometimes it's really hard to be present. So some things I even recommend doing around that is like rubbing your finger to the, let me see. The camera's, okay. But just literally under the table, and so you start to get present with that. And I think for some people it's easier than others to stay in the present moment, or they do really well on the date, and then after the date they start freaking out. They start going, well, should I follow up with him? And then they start looking at all the dating advice. Dating advice says, no, I don't follow up with him. He's supposed to call me.
That's when I text Cindy.
What do I do? This guy, I had a really great time. So, something to do is make sure you do thank him on the date. And, I had a client of mine that would struggle with that. She would have, pretty decent first dates, and they weren't following up. And I knew her pretty well. I said, I have a feeling that men don't really know if you're interested or not, and they're afraid to follow up with you. So just like we need affirmation, they need affirmation. So
you just brought something up to mind that has nothing to do with what you're talking about, but it has everything to do with the camera stuff.
Yeah.
And I want to actually point this out, because what I was saying earlier to circle up the whole conversation is when we are on like online dating or literally doing these Zoom calls or anything like that, like I tell women to do like a circle around the camera, like a broader circle, so that they could actually, because right now it's just a little circle, right? But if you do like a circle around it, it gives you a focal point instead of like going like this, like hi, and having those awkward faces, like, can you see me, like that whole awkward. And practice that before you get on camera, so that you know where you're looking at, and he feels, because right now I'm looking straight at the focal point, but look, now I'm looking at Nikki, and now I'm looking at myself. Like it changes. So then there's a level of responsibility that comes from these like virtual calls, because it requires me to be extra focused or intentional about it, so that they feel like I'm actually present and that I'm not looking somewhere else, not paying attention to them. Because those things, it's so easy to do in person, but once you're on camera, if you're lost, right? Like I'm looking over here and they're like, no, I'm over here. And it's like, so one of the things that I tell people is to create a little focal point around the camera, so that you are focused on seeing that, and just, because you can start seeing like the change in eyes and things like that. And so just to create and convey, like, I'm connected, I'm present with you, I'm communicating with you. And so I just wanted to give that tip before we would log off.
Yeah, that is a really good tip, that sometimes I know even I get distracted and I start looking at the person rather than the camera. And it's really true. Ladies, take this to know when you're doing FaceTime calls or Zoom calls, just to have that focal point to look at the camera and, connect in from, and it might feel a little impersonal because you want to look at the person too. So do you have any recommendations there?
Yeah, well, I'm saying create like a circle around the camera, if like put like a paper or something, so that you're just staring at that area, and it's not necessarily you're focusing on the little thing, and then your eyes look like this, and then you're like, but you're like, now you're relaxed, you're present, and it's not something that's like on the other side. And practice with a girlfriend, get on the with the girlfriend, and also check out like your lighting and everything else, because right now I had light and it was too much light and it was making my face look like pickly or weird, and so I removed the lighting and now it looks a lot more smoother. Like there's just many things you could do to support you to make the experience a lot smoother, and also so you can feel confident about it. You know, it's when they say success meets preparation. This is one of those conversations of like, just prepare before you get on, and you're not just like, you know, not have something else to be insecure about. Like we already go through all these like, oh my God, is he gonna like me? Is he not gonna like me? And then now you have to think about the technical stuff. It's just more pressure, and so just to take that pressure off, you know, from all you ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
The computer position can be helpful too. A lot of, there are some PC laptops that the camera's on the bottom instead of the top. I know I have an Apple, so it's at the top. But, right now it's like my laptop is on top of a box, on top of a table.
Mine too.
So I'm level, right? So I had to manipulate the situation so that I'm in the middle of the screen, as opposed to like a lot of people get on and they're like, can you see me? And it's like, you can't see their mouth or just your chest. I'm sure the guy won't complain, but probably not the first impression you want to give. And so yeah, like Carla said, just practice with a friend and see where you can position your equipment, whether it's your laptop or your phone, so that you actually can see the person and communicate at the same time. So if, our laptop's open and closed, so you can put it at different angles to help you. So play around with that for sure. And I'm so sorry, ladies, I have to go. Thank you for having me, though.
It was awesome having you. Thank you so much for being here. And
thank you for having me.
You're a wealth of information. It was so much fun playing, and I'll talk to you this weekend.
Okay.
Bye, Nikki.
Bye, everybody.
Love you.
Love you.
Yay, that was fun.
That was
I forgot
fun.
to say, Nikki had the Beyonce fan going on. I was like, I'm gonna do that next so you could see like a little bit like the Beyonce movement.
Yeah, ladies, when you're on the phone, I know I was noticing that too. I've done that before, and I thought, gosh, I'm jealous.
That's so funny.
It is fun too, and I lost my thought because I was thinking about, when it comes to video chatting or just dating in general, something to do to really up your energy before you get on is, your idea of, testing with a girlfriend is great, and actually test it with a girlfriend that makes you laugh right before. So you're having a good time, you're laughing, or play a song that inspires you, that you could just sing at the top of your lungs, and you have that visual of yourself, or even think of something that really makes you laugh, because that way then you're in a more open, receptive mode. And something else too, this is important, especially since it's been COVID time, and I don't know, maybe you're working from home, so you're doing a lot of work on a computer, and maybe you're not talking to people as much. So have a conversation before the conversation, like we said, with somebody, because then it's like your vocal cords, your mouth is warmed up, and you're feeling more like you, and you're not maybe as tense or as nervous or in your head. And the more that you move your body, there's actually studies around this, that if you walk and talk, you sound smarter, or you stand and talk. Probably should have stood up today.
I love it. That's great. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, posture, everything is important, and also you know, being connected to how you look, your hair, your makeup, knowing what looks good on you. And you know, especially with makeup, make sure you see yourself in the camera before jumping on, because sometimes it looks different on camera. Like you can't see that you have, you know, enough like maybe blush, you look too pale, something is off, and you could actually correct it and while you're on the camera, and maybe add some more bronzer or add something that maybe it's too shiny. I mean, these are the things that I learned just behind for working in the industry, and also looking at everything on camera. It's like we wouldn't start shooting until it looked great on camera, and sometimes in person it might too caked up or too much, but on camera it looked perfect, like it wasn't, there was too much eyelash, too much, you know, mascara, eyeliner, things like that. It just looked even. And also the hair could look sometimes too flat or things like that. And so we would go in there, tease it, make it like, for example, my hair looks a little flat, so then I would go in, literally do this to the model, to the the actress, and then now you have volume. See, like I just puffed it up. And so I would do that, add some hairspray, and they're ready to go. So yeah, stuff like that, check it. And but yeah, makeup is really important, especially if you're going to be on camera.
Yeah, I would normally not wear this lipstick off of camera because it's a little bright for me off camera, but I do like it on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, so there's like your camera look and vibe, and then your off camera look.
Yeah. So I want to, you know, give you ladies a few little packaged takeaways here. Be prepared for getting on camera, and, you know, and test it. Test your looks, test lighting. I always like those little ring lights for your cell phone too. Some of them you can turn up or turn down. So I feel like that's helpful. And, you know, getting in touch with what it is you want. Do I want a loving, committed relationship? Am I looking to have fun? If I'm looking for a loving, committed relationship, then, you know, something I teach my clients, we don't have time to go into now, but is, you know, what are my top 5 values, which I call the fabulous 5, and, you know, date from that place and get to know people from that place. Not like you're asking questions as, you know, to check mark, but, you know, when you have clarity on what you want and what are my needs, what are my boundaries, what are the agreements I've made with myself, like what Nikki was sharing earlier around, okay, she had made a commitment to herself to get to bed earlier. And how many times have you, in early on in dating or dating in general, where maybe you had made a commitment to go to bed early because you were, as a result, going to get up early and maybe do, you know, work out or do something else, and you broke those commitments to yourself, which is starting that process of self-abandonment and not tuning into your needs. Therefore, what we do a lot as women is we start to look for other people to fill up those needs. And usually it's a man, as we're dating or in relationship too. And so being really clear on that. And a lot of times, you know, I'll coach my clients and, like, you know, you go out on the first date, let's say it's a coffee date, or right now, maybe meet in the park or meet outside someplace. Go for an hour the first time. And, you know, not much longer than that, because first off, there's a lot more time to get to know somebody on the second, third, and fourth date. And the longer you're with them, the longer it stretches into a second, third, and fourth date for a man. But if you're setting that boundary first, And you're also letting them know, hey, I had a really great time. And that might feel awkward to you, right? So it might feel awkward saying, cutting it off at an hour, just say, hey, you know, I'm really having a really wonderful time. And I, you know, I do get to go home and take care of myself. And if a man doesn't respond well to that, you just removed somebody that wasn't going to work anyway. And it's the first step in attracting differently. It is the first step in that. And I could do a whole training around attracting differently. So I hope that this has really been supportive, that you guys have taken some nuggets from this and had some fun in the process of my new technological friend, StreamYard, that gets to shift a little bit the next time, but we'll definitely make sure and send out the recording. So before we depart, is there anything you would like to add, Miss Carla?
Yeah, I think that the common theme of the conversation is know yourself. Like, get to know yourself, know what you like, what your boundaries are. And the more that you get to know yourself, you could actually, it's that's a self-love conversation, right? And so if you can love yourself, hold boundaries for yourself, then you'll create a level of safety and confidence for yourself. And then therefore you're going to exude that, with the people that you meet in your encounter. Right now we're talking about dating per se, but it's just a good thing to really practice in your life and have you build your confidence so that you can go in any area of your life and show up like a master, right? Like, oh yeah, I know myself, I know who I am, I know how to take care of myself. And if you don't, you're like, well, Carla, how do I do that? Then just start asking yourself the questions. And little by little, like at first you're going to think, oh, no, I'm okay with this. And then you're going to try it and you're going to say, oh, I'm not okay with that. And honor that. Just honor that. And don't break those, like promises to yourself, because then, you're little by little, you're going to start chipping away your self-worth. And then that's when we get lost.
Yeah,
in relationships, get lost in jobs and friendships.
sure, because that's all interconnected, because we're not always setting boundaries in those spaces, or we overcommit and then we're constantly breaking breaking agreements. And yeah, I was thinking as you were sharing that, what might be coming up for you is that this is new for me, to assert myself and assert my needs and make myself feel safe in dating. And I really want to reiterate what you said. Part of it is trying things. How does that feel? Or why am I feeling triggered? Or why am I feeling angry? Or, why does this not sit right? And it's typically because maybe a boundary was crossed that you didn't even realize. So you can sit down and even take an opportunity to write about it. How do I feel? And why is it that I'm feeling this way? What is the feeling that I'm feeling? And maybe I'm feeling jealous that I saw a picture of him with a attractive woman on social media. You have no idea who and what that woman is to him. And what does that mean to me? And instead of suppressing our feelings, expressing them to yourself, well, it means that this person's important to me, that this, I have an attachment here, and I'm making it mean something. What is the gift in this? And even asking yourself certain questions like that, to then get to, even take some time to get into your body and breathe and meditate. And what is the Oh,
Sorry. That's my fault.
I thought, wow, we're in the department. Is everybody okay over there? No.
Yeah, no, it was my phone. You know, when you press it too much, it does the emergency calling.
Mhm.
So I was fidgeting with it.
Okay. So at any rate, you know, really getting connected with that trigger or that feeling, that emotion that's coming up. And, you know, one of the ways to rewire your brain or your feelings around love or the way that your way of being is to sit still with the feeling and feel the emotions all the way through. You can even set a timer on your phone, and your mind will do everything to hijack you. I'm hungry. Oh, is that the laundry going on? You know, like, oh, I need to do this, and redirecting yourself and staying connected and moving through those feelings will, on the other side of that, there is real freedom in getting to that place and then diving deeper into that space. And that is true intimacy with oneself, which when you can create intimacy with yourself and safety within yourself, you can create truly the relationship of your dreams.
Beautiful, Cindy.
Thank you, Carla. You're beautiful too. It was awesome. This was so much fun, you guys. Thank you all for being here. And if you have questions, comments, feel free to post, send them, and we have a beautiful little package for you that will be emailing you out along with this recording too. Lots of love. Mwah. Bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.